Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever really stopped to think about, like, the hidden structures that keep things safe,
Hmm.
especially in places like warehouses or building sites?
Hmm.
I mean, what actually goes into making sure someone can safely operate a forklift? You know, those massive, powerful machines.
Right. They're everywhere.
Exactly. And it's way more structured and honestly crucial than you might first think. So today we're doing a deep dive into this pretty fascinating world of UK forklift training accrediting bodies.
Yeah, it's a world most people don't even know exists.
They're kind of the unsung heroes, aren't they? The
Yeah.
architects of safety and competence, really,
Yeah.
stopping things going wrong before they happen.
It's true. And what's really interesting, I think, is seeing how all these different bodies, they each have their own kind of background, their own way of doing things,
Mhm.
but they all come together for this one absolutely vital goal: safety in the workplace and making sure people know what they're doing. So our mission for you today is basically to explore who these main players are, what exactly they do, and maybe most importantly, why it all matters.
Yeah, why should you care?
Exactly. It's not just about the forklift operators themselves. It's about everyone sharing that workspace. And even, the bigger picture, the economy.
Hmm.
If you connect the dots, we're really talking about the foundations of keeping transport safe within workplaces. It's a system built to protect people.
Absolutely. And just so you know where we're getting our info, our main source for this deep dive is a really insightful article.
Yeah.
It lays out the top UK forklift training accrediting bodies, looks at what they offer, a bit of their history.
Yeah, it's a good overview. Really sets the scene for understanding these crucial organizations.
Okay, so the article points out there are quite a few of them, which, might make you ask, why so many? Why not just one big one?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And the basic answer is they all offer solid lift truck training, accreditation, validation services, the core stuff.
Right.
Their specific methods might differ a bit, maybe their focus, but they're all aiming for really high standards. Often, actually, going beyond what's minimally required by the official guidelines, like the approved code of practice, ACOP L117.
Okay, so exceeding the baseline, that's good to hear. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of each one, maybe just list out the main 5 our source talks about.
Sure. So we've got the Road Transport Industry Training Board, that's RTITB.
RTITB.
Then there's the Independent Training Standards Scheme and Register, which is ITSAR.
ITSAR, okay.
The Construction Industry Training Board, CITB, that's a big one.
Right, CITB. Heard of them.
Then LANTRA National Training Organization, LTD, usually just called LANTRA.
LANTRA.
And finally, the National Plant Operators Registration Scheme, NPOSES.
NPOSES, okay. RTITB, ITSAR, CITB, LANTRA, and NPORS. Quite a lineup.
It is. And each one, like you said earlier, plays its own unique, important part in this whole safety ecosystem.
So back to that why so many pointing one, it's not just overlap.
Not really, no. Think of it more like, having multiple bodies can actually make the whole system stronger. You get a mix of maybe some healthy competition, specialization in certain areas, broader coverage across different industries.
Ah, I see. So they might focus on different sectors.
Sometimes, yeah, or different types of equipment. It allows for approaches that are tailored, which makes the whole system more robust, more multifaceted, and they don't just operate in isolation either.
Wrong.
No, several of them actually work together through groups like the Accrediting Bodies Association, Workplace Transport, the ABA.
Yes, ABA, what do they do?
They help to sort of harmonize the core standards, make sure everyone's generally on the same page for the basics. It prevents things from getting too fragmented. So you've got this blend of individual expertise and collective oversight. It's actually quite a powerful combination.
That makes a lot more sense now. Like a safety net with multiple layers of expertise.
Oh.
Okay, so let's dive into the first one then. RTITB, Road Transport Industry Training Board. Founded 2004, their goal is clearly stated: improve workplace safety, drive it up.
Yep, that's their core mission.
And this source mentioned something I found really interesting, their instructor academy. It says this academy works directly with the trainers and assessors, trying to make employer systems more efficient and safer. So the idea is train the trainers really well.
That's exactly it. It's about the multiplier effect.
Yeah.
If you make sure the people doing the training are top-notch, certified, consistent, that quality ripples outwards to every single operator they train.
Ah, clever.
It's more strategic than just certifying individuals one by one. You elevate the whole learning environment.
Here.
RTITB focuses heavily on accreditation, auditing, assessment, making sure standards aren't just met once, but are continuously adhered to.
Continuous adherence. That sounds intensive.
It is. It reflects that ongoing vigilance you need in safety-critical roles. They want to ensure that accredited places consistently hit or even beat the safety benchmarks because the people teaching safety are rigorously checked themselves. That makes sense. But thinking practically, for businesses, especially smaller ones, these continuous audits, do they balance being thorough with being, manageable? Is there pushback?
That's always a consideration, definitely. RTITB tries to manage this by making their processes clear, efficient, using tech where they can. The audits aim to be practical, focusing on safety outcomes and improvement, not just like bureaucratic box ticking.
Okay.
There might be some initial effort or cost for a business, sure, but the argument is that the long-term payoff, fewer accidents, better efficiency, meeting legal duties, more than justifies it. It's really an investment.
An investment in safety and productivity. Got it. Okay, next up, EDSR. The Independent Training Standards Scheme and Register started back in the early 90s. And they were apparently key in setting up that ABA group you mentioned, the Accrediting Bodies Association, back in 2012.
That's right. They played a foundational role there.
Can you just expand a bit on what the ADA does again, bringing these bodies together?
Sure. Think of the ABA as like a coordinating council. It gets these independent accrediting bodies around the table to agree on the fundamental standards.
For what kind of things?
Things like basic operator registration requirements, how instructors should be trained, minimum standards for exams, that kind of thing.
Right.
It ensures that even though RTITB and ETSAR might have slightly different ways of working, there's a consistent baseline for safety across the UK's workplace transport sector. It stops things splintering off too much.
So an ATSAR certificate is respected just like an RTITB one because they both meet those core ABA standards.
Pretty much, yeah. They adhere to those agreed fundamentals. It ensures interoperability and recognition across the board.
Okay, that's important. So ETSAR not only sets its own high standards, but helped build that consistency framework too. That's quite a contribution. And the source says they have a global reach.
They do, promoting quality training internationally. But what really defines ETSAR, I think, is their explicit mission. Cut down workplace accidents through independent verification.
Independent verification.
Yeah, they're very rigorous about checking that the training provided by their accredited organizations doesn't just meet ACUP L117, but often goes beyond it.
And they have a very structured way of doing things.
It's extremely structured. It's quite fascinating. They don't just have one type of accreditation. They break it down into 5 specific categories.
5? Wow. What are they?
Okay, so you've got registered instructors, then operator training organizations that are accredited, then organizations accredited for both instructor and operator training, then registered tutors, and finally a distinct category for management and supervisors.
Huh. That's very granular. Why so specific?
Well, it recognizes that safety isn't just about the operator, right? It involves the trainers, the organizations providing the training, and crucially, the managers and supervisors overseeing the work.
Oh, so it covered the whole chain of responsibility.
Exactly. By tailoring the accreditation, ITSAR builds this multi-layered safety net. It addresses potential weak points at every level. And remember, ACOP L117 isn't just a guideline, it's an approved code of practice. It has legal status under UK health and safety law.
Right, so exceeding it is really aiming for best practice, not just compliance.
Precisely. Especially vital when you're dealing with potentially dangerous machinery.
Definitely. Okay, moving on to a real heavyweight. CITB, the Construction Industry Training Board. Founded way back in 1964.
Yeah, huge history there. Came out of the Industrial Training Act.
Makes it one of the oldest, most widespread bodies we're talking about. And they're sponsored by the Department for Education, accountable to Parliament. That's quite the setup.
It is, and connecting this to the bigger picture, CITB shows how these bodies can evolve over time. The source notes they've actually moved away from doing the training directly themselves.
Oh, really? What do they do now, then?
Their focus has shifted more towards quality assurance, setting the standards, developing the framework. They still do vital things like checking qualifications, helping people find apprenticeships, and crucially approving other training organizations, which they call ATOs.
APOs approved training organizations.
Right. So instead of delivering all the training in-house, they ensure the quality of a whole network of providers. It gives them a much wider reach and impact.
That makes strategic sense for such a large, established body. Focus on the quality control side.
Yeah.
But does moving away from direct delivery risk losing touch with what actually works on the ground, compared to when they were hands-on?
That's a really sharp question. It's a balancing act for sure,
Hmm.
but they manage it by working very closely with those ATOs. They do audits, they review the course materials, they talk to industry experts, so they stay plugged into what's current.
Okay.
And think about what the ATOs can offer through CITB. There are different levels. Assured products are basically third-party courses that CITB has checked and approved against their standards.
Okay, like a stamp of approval.
Exactly. Then there are CITB products, which are more like their own branded or developed standards and qualifications. And recognized products where they acknowledge other high-quality, relevant qualifications from elsewhere.
Right, so it gives the training providers flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility within a quality-controlled framework. It all aims to ensure the construction industry has workers who are skilled and safe.
That framework analogy helps. Okay, next, LANTRA. LANTRA National Training Organization, Ltd. Been around over 40 years.
Yep, another long-standing one.
And they make quite a claim. The only awarding organization that can lead you from entry-level training right through to expert user qualification. That sounds like a whole career pathway.
It does, doesn't it? It highlights their focus on sort of lifelong learning and development, particularly in the land-based and environmental sectors. That's their niche.
Land-based and environmental, okay.
Their courses are put together by experts from those industries, so they're relevant, accurate, up-to-date. And a big plus, they offer flexible, self-paced learning.
Self-paced. How does that work for something practical like forklift operation?
Well, it's often a blend. The theory or knowledge parts might be self-paced online, which is great for people in demanding jobs, maybe in remote areas.
Right, fitting it around work.
Exactly. But then there are still robust assessments, often practical ones, done by approved instructors or assessors to check the actual hands-on skills. It raises an interesting point, though. How do these flexible options maintain quality while boosting accessibility across different regions?
Yeah, that's the key question. How do they ensure quality with self-pacing?
They use strong online assessment tools, regular check-ins, and, as I said, those practical evaluations. Because industry experts develop the content, it's grounded in real-world needs from the start. And Lantra also specifically offers programs tailored for Wales and Scotland. That expands access and makes sure the training fits local needs, too. It's about meeting people where they are, technologically or geographically, without dropping the standards.
Meeting people where they are. I like that. Okay, last one on our list. NPORS, National Plant Operators Registration Scheme, operating since 1992.
NPORS, right.
Their core principles, according to the source, are regulating training and testing for worker safety, supporting the industry, and being transparent.
And what's really distinctive about NPRS, I think, is their very practical, often on-site training approach.
On-site, meaning at the company's own workplace.
Exactly. They offer the option for training providers to come to a company's premises and train staff using the actual equipment those employees use day in, day out.
Oh, that sounds incredibly useful, learning on the exact machine in the real environment.
It really is. It makes the learning super relevant, immediately transferable. You're not learning on a generic machine in a training center that might be different from what you'll actually operate. It directly tackles that real-world application.
That does sound incredibly practical. But wait, if the training happens on all sorts of different sites, how do they keep the standards consistent? An on-site setup must vary hugely compared to a dedicated training center.
Another great point. And the answer lies in their auditing. NTLNS audits its accredited training partners very regularly.
Auditing the trainers and the sites.
Yes. The trainers, their processes, the equipment being used, even if it's the company's own, and the suitability of the on-site training environment itself. They have clear standards that have to be met wherever the training takes place.
Okay.
This continuous oversight is key. It ensures that even with that flexibility, the core safety knowledge and practical skills meet and often exceed their high benchmarks. It means operators are competent not just in theory, but truly proficient in their specific work setting.
Okay, so it seems like even though their methods differ, RTITB's focus on trainers, it's our structure, CITB's framework, Lantra's pathway, NPR's on-site option, the common denominator is this strong commitment to safety.
Absolutely. That's the thread running through all of them.
So bringing it all together, what does this landscape mean for, someone listening who needs forklift training, or maybe for a company needing to get its staff certified?
Well, the main takeaway is that you're operating in a system that really prioritizes quality and safety. All these bodies we've discussed are qualified, recognized providers of accreditation.
Right.
So choosing a course or a provider that's accredited by any of them gives you a strong assurance. It provides this robust framework. Whether you're that individual operator wanting your ticket or you're an employer needing to train your team, you know there's a recognized standard of excellence and safety being enforced.
So you can have confidence in the certification regardless of which of these main bodies accredit it.
Generally, yes. They all meet the industry standards, the ACOP L117 baseline, and as we've seen, many push to exceed it. So the direct benefit for you, the listener, is knowing that pursuing training aligned with one of these bodies means you or your employees get the skills and the recognized credentials needed to work safely and competently.
Mm.
It all comes back to that fundamental why, doesn't it? It's about preventing accidents, building professionalism, and ultimately keeping people safe at work.
Okay, well, that wraps up our deep dive into this actually really intricate and important world of UK forklift training accrediting bodies.
It is quite a system when you look closely.
We've looked at the key players, RTITB, EDSAR, CITB, Lantra, and Portace, and seen how, despite their different approaches and histories, they work together to build this vital safety infrastructure for forklift operation. Each has its own strengths, its own focus, but they create this comprehensive system.
Yeah, a system that benefits operators, companies, and the wider public, really.
Definitely.
And, considering the depth and the complexity of this whole accreditation system, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, how could this kind of highly regulated, multi-layered approach to training for specific specialized machinery, how could that serve as a model, a blueprint maybe for other complex, high-stakes jobs?
Applying it elsewhere.
Yeah. Imagine taking these ideas, continuous improvement, specialist accreditation pathways, independent checks, and applying them to other critical fields. Fields that touch our lives every day, sometimes in ways we don't even realize. It could be a powerful way to embed safety and ongoing skill development much more widely. It's quite a testament, I think, to how structured, proactive safety measures can genuinely make for a safer, better-run world for everyone.